Welcome, one and all, to a Bike Racing Without Mercy Ibiza special, starting with a big bang off-road adventure up the perpendicular Puig Den Serra, Ibiza's alternative to Sa Calobra, and all the time expertly chaperoned by Boris from my kind of club, Veloclub Ibiza. In the second half of the video, Boris and I changed the pace to smooth, sunny and fast, exploring the beauty of this Balearic gem. For my money, an exquisite alternative to Majorca, especially for those who like their parkours flavoured rolling and those with older kids who prefer their clubbing with a DJ and laser display. Clubbing was never really my thing, even aged 20, but here with Veloclub Ibiza, I get high on the watts, the views and the early morning sun.
Now, rather than a second climb out of Calais d'Or at VO2 Max, Boris has on a menu Puig Den Serra, and apparently it's a proper beast. Plenty of 20% ramps, little bits of recovery in the middle, 2 kilometers of it. So the level of concern is high. Boris, have mercy on me, please. Please have mercy on me. Thank you.
Here we go. Pig of a road surface too. I know it's Puig. Better allow me my mispronunciations. There's a sea of red on my Wahoo. Deep red. Crimson. There's a crimson tide. Oh, it's nasty. Yeah, the next as well. Yeah, you are great. On my way. Oh, Boris. You tell me, huh? It's too much. That's good. Is it flattened up at all? Do the bare minimum. Yeah.
My plan to conserve energy on the lesser 12 to 14% gradients came in handy here, and more so shortly. Puig Den Serra is a wall, no, a barricade, crumbling and intimidating. From my experience in the TA, I was glad to be ascending and not running down. It's way harder to run down something like this. And now back with the forgiving mid-teens gradients. Grinding and conserving the energy here because Boris assured me that the worst was still to come. This climb came only 10 minutes after my max effort ascent out of Calais d'Or, the one with the views over the beautiful island of Esvedra, as showcased in my last video, link at the end of this one. But I think that climb helped me prime my nervous system and get the adrenaline flowing in order to take on the barricade that is Den Serra.
Oh shit, yeah.
Apologies, OMG indeed. Confronted by the tyrant that is Mr. Puig Den Serra. Roll the music. oh so sweet relief. But the after party is not yet ready to begin.
Try to follow me here because we have a very nice view.
Cheers, Boris, my kind of reward. To the climbers, the panoramic vista spoils. .260 watts average power and 60 RPM is really evidence of the difficulty of this ascent, masking the underlying need for the big prolonged spikes of effort well into my anaerobic capacity, as you can see more clearly here on the enlarged graph. But what a day! My endorphins were flowing freely and profusely.
Nick Brownbill, that's right up there with a collid in Snowdonia. Not quite as far, but a really tough road surface more than makes up for it. Boris, oh man, cheers. Dear oh dear. And here is Boris.
Hello.
From Veloclub Ibiza.
I don't have the jersey.
Boris is a seriously elite cyclist. I have struggled just to stay on his wheel at his zone 2, but Boris, you've shown me some fantastic parts of Ibiza. I really appreciate it. And got the best out of me this morning from Esvedra. You can just see Esvedra over there, Calais d'Or. And Boris lives out here, French racer historically, now, well, semi-retired, and also providing beautiful tours with Veloclub. So what's on the agenda now, Boris, this afternoon?
Well, this afternoon, no, I have another two after you.
Another two after me. And look at the canyon that Boris rides. Let me just get the sunlight right. Look at the colour. It's an absolute beautiful machine. Appropriate to ride a canyon in Spain.
But for climbing that,
no.
it's short.
The 30 on the back,
40 on the front.
40 on the front did not help. However, Veloclub Ibiza did me proud. I reckon that's a 34 or 32, I'm not quite sure which.
I think it's 34 or 36.
34 or 36? Well, definitely, it was a...
On the rear, maybe 34. Yeah.
34 on the rear, yeah. It's a nice bike, and look at this. Sun's not quite in the right direction, but look at the views.
Yeah, you can
on this
some vineyards here.
The vineyards down there. And the mystical island of Esvedra. It gave me mystical powers today, best ever powers. Well, since the accident, that is. But dear oh dear, it is steep. Steep. And this wasn't the hardest section. Anyway, time to descend like riding Miss Daisy, not riding Miss Daisy, like driving Miss Daisy. And to kind of carb up and get onto your second and third climb. Beautiful. It's going to be hot for them.
I'm practically sure all the roads are like that in Ibiza.
Yeah, dry stone construction. We have it in the Peak District in more of a grey slate. It's beautiful, isn't it?
And because also in Palma de Majorca, also some smaller road is the same.
Ah, right. That makes sense. Do you go to Majorca much?
Yeah, I do race sometimes.
Oh, you race there, yeah? I did a Majorca 312.
Yeah, I do one day.
It's a beautiful first 160 kilometers. The final 170, 180 are very boring. Oh, I can see it, we're building for a view. Yeah, I might do, yeah. Wow. The early morning Balearic sun. Boris, you were spoiling me this morning, spoiling. Balearic beauty. The Morna Valley and the longest climb in Ibiza awaits.
Flanked by golden dry stone construction walls, olive trees, vineyards, citrus fruits and general feel sensational nature, we're en route here to two very different and very splendid ascents. The first, called the Punta Grossa climb, commences from the postcard perfect town of Cala San Vincent, which is set in a mesmerisingly beautiful cove, as you'll see in just a moment. It's the perfect player, aka beach, for good times, and Boris assured me great food with the family.
Oh my word.
So this is the beach, and the village is a little bit more far, but village, it's pretty fast to say village.
So you saw the beautiful hill rise on the opposite side of the bay. Cala San Vicente, it's a climb out of Cala San Vicente with Boris. Looking forward to it.
Yep, and oh dearie me, even by my own standards, that's exceptional butchering of the name of the town, Cala San Vincent. And the Punta Grossa climb measures up at 2 kilometres at 6.1% average gradient, but very uneven and rampy within that, winding its way up and around the headland we just stopped to admire.
Alrighty. I've got a little bit more of me. Wow,
Nice, huh?
somewhat.
I really like Ibiza's rolling, rugged terrain interspersed with climbs in the 2 to 6 kilometre range. It encourages a really punchy style of riding. And it's not unlike the Lake District or the Peak District, but with a much greater chance of exceptional weather. Of course, if you're wanting mountains, Ibiza is not for you, and Majorca is superior. However, it's much more crowded with cars and many more cyclists, and Tenerife, another favourite of mine, is 2 hours away. I really loved my visit to Majorca for the Majorca 312, and I adore Tenerife. But if you're preparing for some of the Gran Fondo classics like the Strada Bianchi or the Tour of Flanders, or if you're just more of a rouleur or a puncher, then I think Ibiza is exceptional. Really quiet once you get away from Playa d'en Bossa and Ibiza City.
Wow.
If it's your first time cycling in Ibiza, I'd very much recommend a good guide for exploration and also bike hire if you don't want to take your own. This is because the best routes and climbs and scenery aren't quite as obvious as Majorca or Tenerife, and there are many intriguing places to explore and quiet roads to get to take on the main cycling attractions. Simon Rose, the owner and founder of Veloclub Ibiza, fell in love with the island a number of years ago and moved here with his family to set up shop. That's how much he loved it. And I first met him and explored some of the island back in 2019. There's an early video, a Bike Racing Without Mercy video from that visit. And I didn't hesitate, therefore, to reach out to Simon again, and he hooked me up with an excellent bike and also Boris, an incredible guide. Really appreciate it. Thank you ever so much, Simon and Boris. And for the avoidance of any doubt, this isn't a paid promotion. I always pay the full market rate for any cycling holiday, guiding, bike hire, you name it. There simply isn't enough profit margin for the owners of these companies or the organisers of these events to absorb a freebie for someone like me. The island is also perfect for mountain biking, whether in the forest or some long off-road climbs. And you can even cycle around much of the island on the beach and the sand and the rocks. Apparently it's sensational. Boris is a massive advocate.
Very nice. That's a lovely climb for tempo with VO2 max surges. Beautiful climb that, Boris. Let's go for it then.
Then close by is the 4.3 kilometre alpine style ascent with the very easy, I think you'll agree to remember, name Subida Cala desde Basuras hasta Entrad. 3 dots. The subida Cala desde Buceras hasta Entrada is featured in La Vuelta Ibiza in April. It's a 3-day event. And then later on in October, La Vuelta Cicloturista Ibiza, another 3-day event, come celebration of cycling in a land of milk and honey. Next year I want to make it to one of those. This is a lovely power climb where you can really get your rhythm on and relish the sweeping bends whilst moving in and out of the shade of the fragrant pine trees. I completed the subida Cala desde Buceras hasta Entrada in a much easier to articulate 13 minutes at 273 watts, 20 kilometers an hour. I really hope this whets your appetite to explore Ibiza's roads by bike, and thanks once again to Simon and Boris from Veloclub Ibiza, my kind of club. I've referred a couple of times to the sublime ascent out of Cala d'Or with the sensational views over the mystical island of Esvedra. See here a clip from the last video with a link coming right now. Please do click through.